After the Tournament of Power, Goku was bored. Peace was nice, but his Saiyan body and spirit longed for a challenge. He wanted to become much stronger, and for that, he needed to master that divine form he had brushed against, Ultra Instinct. Knowing only one person could guide him, he went to Bulma's house and asked her to call Whis. "Whis, I need your help to train!" Whis, the Angel of Universe 7, appeared shortly after. Upon hearing Goku's request to master a technique of the gods, he smiled with interest. It was always entertaining to see the Saiyan break his limits. "That is a very ambitious goal, Son Goku. But very well, I accept. Your potential is a show I don't want to miss. We will go to Lord Beerus' planet." As they traveled through the cosmos, an anomaly tore open the space before them. A dark portal like a black hole appeared and began to suck in everything in its path with a violent, unnatural force. Whis warned Goku to hold on tight, but in a moment of carelessness, the vortex's immense pull was too much. Goku was torn from the angel's side and swallowed by the darkness. His scream was the last thing heard before the portal closed and vanished. Goku woke to the sound of a deafening hum and the smell of burning. He was lying in a crater in an alley, in a city that felt both familiar and strange. Millions of mosquitoes covered the sky, and the streets were littered with dried-out corpses and burning vehicles. A swarm descended on him, but their stingers couldn't pierce his skin. Annoyed, he flicked his hand, and a pressure wave made them explode. He stood up, taking in the devastation. "Where am I? Is this Earth? It looks like it, but something's not right." He focused, trying to sense the key of his friends, but found nothing. It was total spiritual silence, as if he were alone in the universe. The sensation was deeply unsettling. Just then, a loud explosion a few blocks away shook the ground. His fighter's instinct kicked in at once. "There's a fight! Maybe I'll find answers there!" In a devastated plaza, a young blonde cyborg, Genos, was locked in a fierce battle against a monstrous insect woman, Mosquito Girl. Genos moved at incredible speed, firing bursts of energy from the palms of his hands. Incineration Burst! Mosquito Girl dodged the attack with unnatural agility, laughing as a swarm of her offspring returned to her, injecting her with the blood they had gathered and boosting her power. Meanwhile, a bald man in a yellow hero suit with a white cape, Saitama, was running in circles, completely oblivious to the deadly battle, chasing a single mosquito buzzing around him. "Get back here, bug! I'm gonna squash you!" Goku reached the scene, perplexed. He had watched the cyborg, who fought bravely but was clearly at his limit. He watched the mosquito woman, whose power he felt growing erratically. And he watched the bald man, who emitted absolutely no energy, a complete void that defied all his experience. "Civilian, get out of here! The area isn't safe!" Goku approached Saitama, who finally managed to squash the mosquito between his hands. "Hey, be careful! That thing looks dangerous! Your robot friend's in trouble!" "Huh? Ah, yeah." Seeing he was being overwhelmed, Genos made a drastic decision. His internal components began to glow with a blinding light. "You leave me no choice. I'll take you with me, and this whole city! Incinerate!" A torrent of fire and plasma, larger and more powerful than any of his previous attacks, erupted from his body. The wave of energy swept across the plaza, melting asphalt and disintegrating the abandoned cars. Sensing the danger, Goku vanished in a blink and reappeared on the rooftop of a nearby building. When the attack ceased, the battlefield was a smoking crater of molten glass. Genos panted, steam venting from his overheated systems. And in the center, standing unscathed but completely naked from the disintegration of his clothes, was Saitama. Well, now I really can't go to the supermarket. Impossible! He survived a full power attack without a scratch! And the other individual, I saw him disappear and reappear. My sensors registered no intermediate movement. What kind of beings are these? Mosquito Girl, who had risen to avoid the blast, descended laughing. Her body had swollen and her power was now much greater. In a blur of speed, she appeared behind Genos and dismembered him with a flurry of brutal strikes. "Noisy insect! And now you, naked baldy! Your blood will complete me!" Saitama looked at her with an expression of total boredom. He raised his hand and slapped her. The sound was a single slap. The Kaijin's body instantly exploded into a rain of blood and viscera that splattered the facade of a building 50 meters away. The silence that followed was absolute, broken only by the crackle of flames. Genos, with his head and torso still operational, watched the scene with his optical sensors at maximum. His power is absolute. I beg you, please accept me as your disciple. What are you saying? Goku jumped down from the rooftop, landing lightly. A huge smile of pure excitement, the first since he'd arrived in this world, spread across his face. That was incredible! I've never seen anyone win with a slap! You have to fight me! But, first, seriously, where am I? I'm not from this world. A portal sucked me in and brought me here. The strangest thing is I can't sense anyone's energy, not even yours. Saitama looked him up and down, then looked at the shattered cyborg begging him. He let out a long, weary sigh. Did you hit your head when you fell? I don't have time for this. No, it's the truth! I can prove it! Yeah, sure. Look, if you're still in the mood to say nonsense tomorrow, come find me. I live in the ghost town area of City Z, in the apartments, number 104. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna find some clothes. Saitama left, leaving them alone in the devastated plaza. Goku turned and looked at the cyborg's remains. Genos' head, with its optical eyes still glowing, stared at him from the ground, analyzing his every movement. Hey, are you okay? Well, obviously you're not okay. Do you need help? I can take you somewhere to get repaired. I appreciate the offer, Goku. However, it won't be necessary. I've activated an emergency beacon. Dr. Kuseno is on his way to retrieve me and proceed with repairs. Well, if you're sure. I hope you get better soon. With that, Goku's stomach let out a roar that made the nearby rubble vibrate. He waved goodbye. See ya! I'm really hungry. And instead of walking, he rose slowly into the air, hovered for a second, and then shot into the sky, leaving a trail of wind in his wake and disappeared into the smoke-filled clouds. Genos watched the maneuver, his sensors recording the sudden acceleration and the complete absence of any conventional propulsion system. The word impossible appeared once more in his internal logs. Goku landed several blocks away just as a new commotion erupted. The ground split with a roar, and from the earth emerged a grotesque creature, a tower of purple, bubbling, gelatinous flesh with multiple tentacles whipping out like lashes. It had a single bright eye at the center of its mass and gave off a nauseating stench of burned chemicals. It was the colossal mutant slime, and it was expanding rapidly, devouring everything in its path. Rumble! Absorption! Everything will join my mass! It was about to swallow a bus full of civilians when a figure stepped in. Hey! Leave them alone! A measly human! You will be assimilated! The Kaijin launched a vicious tentacle. Goku didn't even flinch. When the tentacle was a centimeter away, Goku simply flicked the center of its eye with a finger. The colossal mutant slime went rigid, its gelatinous mass shuddered violently, and then it collapsed in on itself, shrinking into a puddle of inert liquid. The family on the bus stared at him in awe. An older woman who had been nearby approached him. Oh, thank you, young man. You saved us. You're a hero. I don't remember seeing you in the association. What's your hero name? Association? No, my name is Goku. Well, Goku, you did a great job. Registered heroes receive a reward for defeating Kaijin. Since you're not registered, please accept this as thanks. The woman handed him a wad of bills. Goku, though confused by the concept, accepted it gratefully. His stomach growled again. He spotted a noodle restaurant that miraculously was still open. He went in and, to the chef's and the few customers' amazement, proceeded to devour almost the entire inventory of the place, stacking a tower of more than 50 empty bowls. With his stomach full and nowhere to go, he found a bench in a quiet park, and using his arms as a pillow, fell fast asleep under the stars of a world that wasn't his. The next morning, he easily found the decrepit apartment building in the ghost town. To his surprise, Genos, fully repaired and gleaming with immaculate metal, was already waiting at the door. Good morning, Goku. I assumed you would come. I've come to formalize my request to become the Master's disciple. Your presence is a factor my analyses did not foresee. They knocked. Saitama opened the door, dressed in a sweatshirt and looking sleepy. Ah, it's you two. It wasn't a nightmare. I told you I'd come. I'm ready for our fight. Master, with your permission, Goku's story, while implausible, is the only logical explanation for his abilities. I suggest a controlled test to verify his threat level, or power level. Saitama yawned. So, in your world, you're very strong? Well, you could say so. I won a tournament where the best from several universes fought. A minuscule spark of interest flickered in Saitama's eyes for a fraction of a second. Alright, you will fight Genos. If you beat him, I'll accept him as a disciple. And maybe, if it isn't boring, I'll fight you afterward. They headed to a vast, desolate, rocky expanse on the city's outskirts. Genos took a fighting stance, his sensors glowing. I have updated my combat patterns based on your brief clash yesterday. I won't hold back. Sounds fun. Whenever you're ready. Genos lunged, unleashing a barrage of his machine gun blows. Hundreds of punches per second capable of pulverizing a mountain. Goku swayed and dodged them all without moving from the spot. Frustrated, Genos leapt back and fired a volley of lasers from his palms. Goku simply brushed them aside with the back of his hand, sending them to crash harmlessly into the rocks. Ranged attacks are useless. Melee attacks don't reach him. I must use speed and brute force. He ignited his thrusters and charged Goku at maximum speed, attempting a brutal tackle. Goku simply stepped aside, and Genos shot past, barely managing to break 100 meters away. You're fast, but your movements are very straightforward and easy to read. Genos turned, priming his incineration cannon once more. Don't underestimate me. This isn't over yet. Before he could fire, Goku moved. It wasn't a blow of power, but of pure technique. A sharp, precise strike with the edge of his hand to the nape of Genos' neck. The cyborg's eyes flickered, his systems entered emergency suspension mode to prevent damage, and he dropped to the ground, motionless but intact. Saitama, who had been watching with his usual indifference, raised an eyebrow. For the first time, there was an expression of genuine interest on his face. Good. Now with me. Goku turned to him, a smile of pure excitement on his face. Right here? Yes. They squared off, the wind kicking up dust around them. Yesterday I couldn't feel your ki. I want to see what happens if I fight without holding back. Alright, come at me with everything you've got.